Hi Ron, it's CC Explains here, professionally qualified accountant and currently working as a financial analyst. And in this video, I'm talking about how to deal or handle your money when you receive your paycheck. So let's be real for a second. You just got paid, the notification hit your phone, and for about 5 minutes, you felt rich. But then the bills start coming out, including your mortgage, might be groceries. If you have kids, it might be school fees, university fees, whatever the case is, car insurance. So once those are paid off, what do you then do with your money? If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're not alone. In fact, more than half the population is right there with you. First off, take a breath. There is nothing to be ashamed of. Life is expensive, stress is at an all-time high, especially in this economy, and sometimes just surviving takes priority over thriving. Just a heads up, in this video, I'm going to do my illustrations on this board, but no, I'm not going to talk about side hustles, like getting into dropshipping or the print-on-demand trend that's going around at the moment, because let's be real here, everyone under the sun has been talking about side hustles. And to be honest, it's not meant for everyone. Everyone's circumstances are different. You might be single, where you might have time to maybe, start something. You might not even be interested in starting something. You're more focused on your career. You might obviously have a family and stuff. So different circumstances. So this side hustle thing, I'm not going to really talk about it. I'm going to talk about more practical things you can do. So here's the truth. The best time to make a positive change isn't next month or after your next raise. It's right now. Not in 10 minutes, not tomorrow, right now. Well, right after you finish this video. Anyway, so first things first, right? You receive your paycheck. Okay? When you receive a paycheck, the first priority is paying off your bills. And apologies in advance for this terrible writing, but is pay your bills. Okay? This is the number one. Why is that? Because if you are late to paying off your bills, whether it's mortgage, insurance, whatever, there's either a penalty, which results in even higher costs. And this penalty might come in the form of, say, further interest charged or like penalty fees. Which obviously means that more money is coming out of your account. That's number one thing. Once that is paid off and you have money set aside, remaining check set aside, then the next thing is you want to make sure you have savings and an emergency fund as well. So let's put emergency fund. Okay. Actually, let's write this in different colors, keep it consistent. It's emergency fund. Okay. So this is where you aim to have 3 to 6 months of basic expenses. This is pretty much your sleep better at night fund. So if anything goes wrong, you lose a job, for example, or there's some significant circumstance that has arisen that results in you not being able to generate enough money, then you have this fund to save you. All right, this is extremely important. With that emergency fund is also you can put that money into a high yield savings account. So I'll actually combine these two. High yield savings account. It's called HYSA. The reason for this is you don't want to leave this money as most of you already know, I'm pretty sure you know this, but you don't want to just leave your money into just your normal account. You'll want to put this into a high savings account. So don't just put it into the bank you are currently with. Research some banks, as different banks offer higher interest. And so you want to go with those banks that have higher interest and transfer your money into there. Banks offer increased interest. Okay, but you also want to make sure that you're reading their disclosures, because sometimes there might be extra fees or hidden fees that you might not know of, that even though, say, the bank gives you 5% interest, which is extremely good, by the way, on the money that you put into that account, there might be certain disclosures in there, like hidden fees and things like that, you have to be aware of. So just make sure that you're reading those disclosures as well, so you're not caught out in any fees that you might have to pay. Another thing is automate. What I mean by automate is make sure that you set your account to automatically transfer money from your either the bank you're with to the other bank where your high interest savings account is, or transferring between account to account. Make sure that is automated, because in case you're really busy that 1 week and you completely forget to do that, you don't have to worry about it. Just have it set up and forget about it. Step 3. This is putting your money to work. So obviously, I'm sure you guys already know about this, is investing, all right? So I just want to talk about 2 things. A lot of people talk about these 2 types, right? Passive plus active investing. Most people will fall under this category. Passive investing is for 90% of people. This is where you put your funds towards an index fund or ETF, and this is where you invest in the S&P 500 or whatever your country's top companies are. But most people probably put their money into the US companies. And this is pretty much where you're betting on the entire stock market. It's low stress. It takes probably 5 minutes a month to just transfer that money and maybe have a quick read through the companies, the economic conditions of the main companies that hold majority of the market share. So good ones might be, you can invest in ETFs through multiple means actually. One is like Vanguard, and one is through personally I also use CMC markets. So this is where you open up a brokerage account and you transfer money into here and you invest into ETFs or index funds. There's also other apps like Stake, etc. It's up to you, but each one has their pros and cons, so just make sure you read on the disclosures. There's also the other part where, look, if you are more into really researching those individual stocks, really understand the economic and financial implications of different stocks and what they mean, and you know how to read financial statements, etc., and you're very technically competent, then there's also this other route, which is active investing, which is for maybe the other 10% of people. I also participate in active investing, mainly because I have a much higher risk tolerance, and I'm in a good financial position, and I do like to take some risks, responsible risk, of course. So this is where you research the individual stocks, and you analyze their financial statements, you analyze the competitive or the competition in which that company is competing against. You might do some analysis, so quantitative. Completely butchered that. Quantitative Analysis. By that I mean forecasting. So seeing what would be the estimated price, or trying to forecast a share price pretty much of a company. And just to give an example, it's not the hardest thing in the world to do, but it does require a bit of risk. For example, Warren Buffett, most of you guys know, is the most well-renowned, esteemed investor. And he generates an average return of 20% over a long period of time. Meanwhile, ETFs give around, if you choose that passive investing route, around 8 to 10% annual returns. However, a lot of analysts are forecasting this returns to drop to between 6 to 7% over the next decade. So if you do have enough money aside and you're in a financial position where you might want to take a bit more risk, then this might also be an option. But just be wary. Just make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. And I'll probably go into this active investing part in another video. Now, halfway there. All right, next step is we need to talk about the formula. Okay? So we know that income less expenses equals profit, which in this case, or in our case, is, okay, this is terrible, but yeah, remaining funds to do what we need to do with our money. So if we look at this equation, what can we reduce? Obviously this, right? A lot of people have unwanted subscriptions, bills that they don't even know about. This is where you want to reduce, this is where you want to reduce the number of expenses you have. And when I say expenses, I mean expenses that are just not necessary. That might include subscriptions, memberships, maybe some website newsletter where you've opted in to pay like a monthly subscription or monthly fee to be able to read a newsletter and you never read it, things like that. And in my personal example, I just recently did a bank statement audit, is what I do to see where I can reduce expenses, is when you pretty much pull up your bank statement from your bank and you see what, line by line, what is going out of your account. And I found that I was paying extra subscriptions for audiobooks and for website builders, which charged me close to around $60 a month. And I was doing that for quite a few months. So yeah, that kind of sucks. But better late than never, I guess. So that's important. Another thing you can do is make sure that you're on the right plan that suits you. So for example, say you're with an internet service provider or insurance company. You want to see if there is more of a efficient plan for yourself. So you don't need add-ons. Like there's extra perks that add on and you don't even use. So you just want to make sure that you're paying the right amount for that memberships, subscription fees, whatever it is what I'm trying to say. All right, last thing is this. Income. So obviously we're talking about reducing expenses and how we can do that by going through your bank statement each month or each week, whatever it is. Let me draw a separate arrow here. Nice thick arrow. All right, so you can only reduce your expenses by so much, right? And to really truly break out of that cycle, you have to increase your level as a person and your competence. So let's assume that you are already working, ideally in your line of study, and say you're in a position, say you're in a junior position, right? Junior level position. close to the bottom of the barrel, unless you're an intern. I'm joking. I've been in your position, so no diss. But this is not a career advice video, but I'll briefly explain. So a lot of people, when talking about income, they always say, okay, start something on the side, start something on the side. But that's not always the case. You work, assuming you work full time, which is around 8 hours. That's a third of your day. So you want to be maximizing these 8 hours, right? Say you're in a position and you do like your job and you're wanting to earn more. How do you earn more? Either salary negotiation or promotion. Or it might be some extra work that you do for your company that you get paid for. But let's look at these two things. How do you show to your employer that you deserve more money? One is study the people above. That means look at your senior, for example, or the person or your manager. See what they do. See how they operate. See what skills really stand out. So, for example, you might be a programmer, right? You might write some code, and then you pass your code to your senior, and then you see that your senior writes cleaner code. And say sometimes the boss comes to your senior and asks for an explanation on the code and what improvements have been done to make it more efficient. And you see that your senior is able to communicate what is in that code in a more simple way and is easily digestible for the manager. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to make sure that you also have these skills, and if not, attain them. Because you got to think, how did this person go from junior level to senior level? It's generally right in front of your face. Unless it's some, try and, stick up for the boss and try and, talk your way through it. That's normally not the case. You normally should get promoted on quality of work and also communication. Communication, when I say communication, I don't mean buttering them up. I mean providing them results. Because at the end of the day, when you go for your performance review, PR, you should be able to explain if they are not going to already promote you. If they haven't decided to promote you, then you will need to explain to them why you deserve to go up the ladder or into a higher position. Now, if we just go back quickly. So when I mean study the people above, once you study them, you have to practice those skills. So it might be writing cleaner code. It might be diagnosing the code, finding errors. It might be communicating in a better way, more simple way. You have to skill up, is what I'm trying to say. So look into books, certifications, and avoid the scammers and fake gurus you see on YouTube and other websites. Instead, look at reputable sources. It might be Coursera, course websites like Coursera, Udemy, and some universities even post their qualifications or certifications on these websites. And just make sure you search the reviews on multiple websites before you buy, as there is a lot of scams out there, so you have to be careful. Once you pick up these skills and learn these skills, you then want to apply these skills in your job. And the next time you speak to your senior, or even better, your manager talks to you, don't just talk about, oh, how's your day, how's your week? When they ask you how your day or how your week was, you showcase in your discussion yeah, my week was really good. It was actually quite busy because after work, I was looking to, I started trying to improve on these particular skill sets to try and, create more efficient code. And this is what I did. Your manager will be impressed, and they will note in their head that, okay, this person is putting the effort. He or she, whatever, is spending the weekend working to upskill and try and provide better results for the company. And so they'll take this into consideration, right? And then this has to show through your results at work. So not just learn, it's not just communicating that you're learning to your management, to your manager, and showcasing why you deserve that extra pay or whatever, promotion, but it's also showcasing that, okay, you got that work ethic, now can you show me the results? So make sure that whenever you do the work, you show the best result that you can show. Now, what happens when, even after you've done all this, right? What happens if you don't get that promotion or you don't get that pay bump? Well, then it might be time to look for a new job. And when you look for a new job, make sure that you are applying while you're in the job, in your current job. And if, say, you already got through these interview stages and they offer you a higher salary, but you really like the place where you work, it's just they didn't give you the promotion or the pay bump, then you could possibly use that offer as a way to negotiate with the current company, being like, hey, I got this offer from another company and I'll see whether you can match it. If not, I'll have to consider my position. But also, obviously, put that in a professional way. Do not be threatening about it. Be responsible and say in a professional way, like, look, I got an offer elsewhere, but I really do like this company, but I just need to assess my options, right? And just make sure it's a good cultural fit, because you want to obviously enjoy your new role, and obviously your happiness also matters as well. Making sure you're ready to go to work and not just going to work for the sake of it. And the other just quick tip, say after all that you have a leftover amount, right? From investing, from upping, trying to get books or whatever to try and upskill, and you still have amounts remaining, don't just pay yourself, okay? Don't just put it towards enjoyment, like buying clothes or whatever. Take in consideration events that happen throughout the year. Because what a lot of people do is they might do all the investing part, they might do, all the upskilling, whatever, they spend money in that, if you can't get it for free, of course. And then they just spend it on themselves. But they don't take in consideration key events that happen during the year. It might be key holidays, depending on what religion you follow. So it might be, for example, Christmas. It might be birthdays. These all involve gifts. Actually, should have an equal sign. Gifts. Which involves money. Right? So also think about these small things. Okay, these events that are happening, I need to make sure I have budgeted enough so I can afford these gifts. And when I turn up to these events, I don't look like an idiot and do not get anything for this person because I didn't have enough money. So just make sure that you're covering all the key expenses. And then once you do that, only then is spend on yourself. If you want to. Otherwise, if that remaining money you don't have to spend on yourself, you can roll it forward into the next period, whatever. You can invest it even, invest more of it, whatever you want to do. But once you've done all what I've spoken about previously, then you can do what you want with your money, but I'll leave it up to you as you would understand your own situation. So just to conclude, breaking the paycheck to paycheck cycle isn't about luck. It's about a series of small intentional decisions. You don't have to do all 4 things perfectly today, just pick one. Maybe today you open that high yield savings account. Maybe today you cancel 2 subscriptions. Remember, you aren't stuck, you're just in transition phase. And if you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments, what is the expense you're cutting this week? Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Now go take action.